Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
But the young men really need to hear this more, I think, is that you should be a monster. You know, because everyone says, well, you should be harmless, virtuous. You shouldn't do anyone any harm. You should sheath your competitive instinct. You shouldn't try to win. You know, you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too assertive. You want to take a back seat and all of that. It's like, no. Wrong. You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it. Someone who is incapable of cruelty is a higher moral being than someone who is capable of cruelty. And I would say, and this follows Jung as well, that that's incorrect, and it's dangerously incorrect, because if you are not capable of cruelty, you are absolutely a victim to anyone who is. And so part of the reason that people go watch anti-heroes and villains is because there's a part of them crying out for the incorporation of the monster within them, which is what gives them strength of character and self-respect, because it's impossible to respect yourself until you grow teeth. And if you grow teeth, then you realize that you're somewhat dangerous, or maybe somewhat seriously dangerous, and then you might be more willing to demand that you treat yourself with respect and other people do the same thing. And so that doesn't mean that being cruel is better than not being cruel. What it means is that being able to be cruel and then not being cruel is better than not being able to be cruel. Because in the first case, you're nothing but weak and naive. And in the second case, you're dangerous, but you have it under control. And you know, a lot of martial arts concentrate on exactly that as part of their philosophy of training. It's like, we're not training you to fight. We're training you to be peaceful and awake and avoid fights. But if you happen to have to get in one, and I guess the philosophy also is that if you're competent at fighting, that actually decreases the probability that you're going to have to fight, because when someone pushes you, you'll be able to respond with confidence, and with any luck, and this is certainly the case with bullies, with any luck, a reasonable show of confidence, which is very much equivalent to a show of dominance, is going to be enough to make the bully back off. And so the strength that you develop in your monstrousness is actually the best guarantee of peace. And that's partly why Jung believed that it was necessary for people to integrate their shadow. And he said that was a terrible thing for people to attempt, because the human shadow, which is all those things about yourself that you don't want to realize, reaches all the way to hell. And what he meant by that was, it's through an analysis of your own shadow that you can come to understand why other people are capable, and you as well, of the sorts of terrible atrocities that characterized, let's say, the 20th century. And without that understanding, there's no possibility of bringing it under control. When you study Nazi Germany, for example, or you study the Soviet Union, particularly under Stalin, and you're asking yourself, well, what are these perpetrators like? Forget about the victims, let's talk about the perpetrators. The answer is, they're just like you. And if you don't know that, that just means that you don't know anything about people, including yourself. And then it also means that you have to discover why they're just like you. And believe me, that's no picnic. So that's enough to traumatize people, and that's partly why they don't do it. And it's also partly why the path to enlightenment and wisdom is seldom trod upon, because if it was all a matter of following your bliss and doing what made you happy, then everyone in the world would be a paragon of wisdom, but it's not that at all.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do. Everybody gets excited. E.T., the guru story, but nobody wants to get up at 3 o'clock. Everybody's excited when I say, I wake up at 3 o'clock, Eric's a beast, 3 o'clock. And then you try it twice at 5, and like for real, you walk out of here pumped up, fired up, you get some new information, you're ready. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. And what you have to understand is, everybody that you're gonna hear from, Eric Thomas, my mother got pregnant with me at 17 years old, high school dropout, ate out of trash cans. Lived in abandoned buildings, slept in cars, multi-million company that's changing the world. I didn't say America, the world. Why? Because not only do I want to be a beast, if you follow my 24 hours, I do what beasts do. And you cannot Listen to me, I got you. You cannot. Like, I don't want them to feel like they were wrong. Nobody else didn't clap. You were absolutely right. That was a moment. They didn't catch the moment. You're right. Whoever that was, they did what beasts do. Right? Watch this though, guys. You can't just say you want it. You can't watch the video and say, I want it as bad as I want to breathe. It's cute to say it. But when it's showtime, when the sun comes up, you got all the books, you got all the tapes, you got all the access. Now it's time to hunt. And what separates you from everybody else is that when it's time to hunt, you're ready to hunt. So you get all the information. What's going to separate you is when it's beast time, when it's war time, you got to get up and make it happen. You got to get up. So this morning, yep. I don't know how it happened, but one something this morning, we got an emotion. Yep, different countries. Yep, still got the exercise in. Still got the workout in. Yep, still walk as a team. About an hour or something. Yep, every day. Yep, different country. Yep, still swimming pool. Yep, did the whole nine. Yep, still met this morning. Yep, did the whole nine. Still made all the phone calls. Still answered all the calls. Yep, 16-hour ride. Nothing changed. I'm here, and I can say jet lag. I come up with a whole bunch of excuses. I had a call yesterday. It was 9 o'clock in the morning back at the States. Every week I'm on. I made the adjustment. I went to bed. I'm sorry. Help me, CJ, because I don't want to lie. What time did we go to bed last night? 9-ish. Yep. So I had to get up at 11 for the call. And with everything, you're talking about a 14-hour difference, not including a 5-hour flight to LA, then a 16-hour flight to Melbourne. Listen to me very closely. I still made all my appointments. Why? Because that's what beasts do. I didn't send out an email. I'm in Australia. Just had fish and chips. I apologize. I'm tired. Listen to me. I made all my engagements. I made all my appointments. I found out that I left a very important folder for this last part of the dissertation, the last chapter. I left it at home. I made a phone call, told the young lady, I'll pay you extra. Go scan it for me, send it to me. Guy here, everything is there. When I get back, I got work to do. I will not go back and go to sleep. Listen to me. Everybody wants to be a beast. Everybody's got lions on their profiles. Everybody talks positive about themselves. Everybody talks like you a beast. You dress like you a beast. You've got the cards like a beast. Your image, everything about you says, I'm a beast. That's how you present yourself. When you present, I'm a beast. But then when it's time to do what beasts do, you back up. You have an excuse. And I told you before, innovation is rewarded. They give you a plaque for it. They give you a reward for it. Or execution emotions. When you start executing, listen to me. I want you to, and this is no disrespect, I want you to look at your salary, and if you can look at your salary would either say rewards or your salary would say execution. No, this is no disrespect. When we were talking about what we were going to do, we made a certain amount. When we did 90, 98, 99% of what we said we were going to do, we started getting phone calls, and I'll get in trouble with CJ, so I can't say it. Let me tell you, some of the top entertainers, some of the top companies in the world are calling us on a daily basis, and we're declining, and there's one company we're thinking about working with. Why? Because when people see us, they execute now, and we want to be a part of the execution.